And with that, I will get started. Eric Humes from MetaViewer by MetaFile, and have the privilege today to be able to be the second last demonstrator of what's been an action-packed GP demo day. Now, we've been around for 46 years, and over that 46 years, we started off as mostly a document management company, and about 20 years ago, maybe a bit more, actually 23, we just started to really mainstream and focus on AP and being able to provide industry-leading automation with that solution. Now, just for a quick overview, when we're looking at the overall AP process, right, we're able to capture any document that comes into, whether it be an email folder or an email inbox or a folder, and then extract the data that's needed. So, whether you're getting all digital, which after COVID, most companies are digital, but if they're still getting the odd paper invoice, we can scan it and then still bring that in. We're even able to analyze handwriting and extract that to be able to put that, to fill out all the necessary data. Now, from that, it goes through that intelligent recognition process, and then based on what comes out on the other side, we know that it either has to go through GL coding and end up through an approval process and then being put into the ERP, or if the invoice and the PO aren't necessarily matching, then there's reconciliation because maybe they're only paying for a portion of the total invoice. And with that, it goes through reconciliation before it's then uploaded into GP. The best part is that we are on a standard browser interface, and so being cloud-based, obviously we function on-prem, but being cloud-based, you can search and access us from anywhere, whether it be through computer or on your mobile. We are also able to give you the ability to retrieve any documents at any time, and are fully integrated with all Microsoft ERPs and a few other ERPs along the way. We have now also joined and formed a strategic partnership with Corpay and are able to now also offer you the automated payment solution. So not only can we take your documentation in, but we can then create automation all the way through to payment, and then go ahead and store all those documents in an accounts receivable type fashion as well. So this is just a quick high level. I think that the best thing to do, though, is just to take a look at the solution, whether something's sunsetting or not. Sometimes the best part of every day is the sunset. And I wanted us to make sure that we take a moment to realize and just enjoy. So enjoy the next few minutes, and we'll touch base in a few.
Should we be hearing audio, Eric?
You should be, but it must not have worked again.
No,
so I can just talk through it.
It should work because I did set it up.
I'll pause it for a minute. Yeah, and I tested it, but for some reason it doesn't work. So I can.
Gosh. All right.
That's okay.
Sorry, because obviously David Musgrave from Winthrop is in Australia, so he's not, presenting live today because it's 3 a.m. his time, and he sent me a recording, so that's why
I wonder if that's the key. I wonder if I need to send it to you going forward.
Yeah, maybe. I apologize.
Okay. Hey, that's okay. I can still go.
Okay.
So we come into the dashboard. We come in first thing in the morning. When you sign in, you can just see what's there, make sure everything's zero. Okay, so there's nothing waiting, but you do see no documents in process. There are some 3s, 9s, preparation 17. So it just kind of is a reminder of what tasks you need to be in front of over the course of the day. But now, any invoice that comes in goes through that intelligent recognition engine, and that's how we extract the data out. So then after that, it does come into the preparation queue. And that is where there might have to be some GL coding that's implemented or through reconciliation. Now, once it goes to GP, it does go down to the waiting for payments queue. And so then that way we're communicating with GP periodically to make sure when we get the payment off information, we can pull it back and we can extract what's needed and then update the document. So when you do look at the search for payables in process and complete, it allows you to be able to go back and find any payable, you know, in real time from the past. So if we go look at waiting for payment, we have some invoices here. Let's look at the Metro Business invoice. So the invoice comes in and it feeds up to the intelligent recognition platform. And so you can see over here on the right, we have our audit trail platform for the checks and balances. It is a valid PO. It does match to the receipts. So this one is a perfect match. And so it gets pushed over to GP and we await the payment information to come back. And then when that happens, we'll pull it back from GP and archive it away so it's searchable. But if we hop over to the preparation queue and we look for the invoices that don't match automatically, then there's a lot of non-PO invoices end up starting the process here, but there are a few PO invoices at the bottom. And so let's take a look at one of those. Now, here, we passed some of the rules, but you can see there was a few areas we didn't succeed. And so it's just saying it's not a perfect match for the receipts that we have. We were able to find the PO. It is valid PO. But if we click the code and reconcile here, then when we click, it does pull back what is available to match to. We can see the 1165. So 20, when you look at the number of shirts received, 20, right? This is for 20 shirts. Meanwhile, this one has yellow and red. So we erase the yellow shirts because it doesn't apply to this invoice. We can remove that out. And now we can see it, it's matched. We can reconcile it and we can push it over to GP. Now, let's presume we're going to get an invoice for the yellow shirts, or we have to come back in and then figure that out and work with the vendor. However, generally what happens is it's going to come in a separate receipt. Sometimes if you need to adjust quantity or unit cost while you're going through that reconciliation phase, that's the whole reason for this page. So you go reconcile and it pushes it over to GP. But now let's switch gears and look at an invoice that's not, you know, a nice and easy one that comes into the system from time to time. So you can see we pulled all the information off this invoice, and things that are in yellow is just highlighting what it was that was pulled and then filled into the data sections beside. So you can see all the pertinent information is here. But this time when we hit code and reconcile, it does communicate with the GP vendor card, and then it brings back the default account codes. So if the accounting is different, we can add different rows. We can type in some characters of the account number, and then it should auto-populate because it's communicating with the chartered account so that it can only allows you to pick those valid codes and valid accounts. You can even do it by cost of by description. So cost of goods sold, for example. We'll say now it's been coded. So now the system remembers that as the parameters for the document. And then as the document loads, it does know what department it's going to. We can change the department if we need to. Or if there's something different that any customer might have a different workflow, then this is just where we go in and we can create that customization, in real time as we're setting up the process. Then you just send it for approval as long as everything looks good, and it's immediately put in the approver's queue. So the approver can get an email every day or once a week. We recommend once a day because if it's there, we should be moving it along the track. But here's the email that comes to the approver just as a reminder of everything that is in the queue. Then we log out. Now let's go see what the approver would see from their side. So Joe's our guy that does most of the approvals. So we go to his queue. He has 4 invoices. Let's just choose this one. So as you can see, a ton of the fields here are filled in and they're read-only because he doesn't need to be altering that. It just needs to be approving or rejecting. We don't always want the approvers to change coding. They don't necessarily know what they're doing. They might have a thought that they do, but it's best that we just keep it based on how it was built out with the AP team. So now he's going to click approve. He's he records that in the audit trail. However, he could go into other and choose some other areas if he wasn't going to approve. But now, click of a button, approve, and the way it is, it's pushed over. So it either gets sent to the next approver, or we can go back to AP, and then it goes into the final review stage. So if he is the only approver when Joe's done, it'll end up here, final review. The reassigns for when you say it's not mine, but let's go to final review. It's just that one last set of eyes, just to make sure all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted, if you will. Now you can always add notes over here on the right-hand side, where you can tag them. It lets you to communicate within the app, not only just through email, so that when they get the document, they can see those notes. But everything here looks good, so let's export it to ERP. So now it's gone to GP, and it's going to be posted for payment, just like all the other invoices. Finally, let's just look at the search capabilities. So it's a smart form. You can just put in a few parameters to filter it out, or you can just put in a few different areas, start typing the word, or pull up a vendor and it'll give you how many different document types are saved within the database. And so you can just keep filtering down until you find what it is you're looking for. Or if you want to search a PO number, put it in, or search by approver, go ahead and do that. Here you can see there was a ton of documents in Fabricam. Search by vendor, then we can just export it to the CSV and do analysis. Or we can just download a bunch of the documents in real time. So if an auditor is asking, just to make sure that, it's quick and easy, but also exactly what they're looking for. And so that was really quick. 15 minutes comes and goes super fast. But in a high level, just wanted to show the ease of use, the ability and the breadth of what we offer when it comes to MetaViewer. Because not only are we an industry-leading accounts payable platform, but we've also spent a ton of time listening to our customers, listening to the over 4,000 customers we've touched in our years, and understanding what it is that they need when it comes to our expense reporting, or adding the new vendors and how quickly we can do that with workflow, payment batch approvals, journal entries. I mean, we are offering now PDF splitting and image corrector, the use of AI with intelligent recognition, and then also just the overall document management side of house, and anything from HR and legal, your contracts, plus all your AR needs and payments. So as we continue to build out an automation tool, we continue to build that out based on the needs and the wants of our current clients. And we look forward to working with them and to working with any new clients that are interested in understanding automation on GP, or talking to us as they get ready to make that venture over to BC and F&O. We'll see everyone on the BC one. And Amy, as always, thanks for the buzz.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So last but not least, like I mentioned, we have David from Winthrop.